All right, welcome students. Hope things are well with you. We'll dive right in. We're going to work some more with unit rates today, but we're going to do it with fractions of fractions. This is going to be complex fractions are going to end up in our unit rate problems. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be scared of them. It's the same thing we've done. It's just putting the numbers in that same process of a ratio with a numerator and denominator. So we'll dive right in here. Get me out of the way. You can always skip ahead, move forward. Move back as you need. You can even go other places on the internet if you need to find about unit rate. Today's assignment is going to be a little different where we're working through working with the book, with the textbook. I can't broadcast it because of copyright purposes, but you can get out your book. It's also available online. It's actually the assignment for today. So one option is to pause this video and go into the assignment in Savvas and look at the book page. You can go back and forth, have the video going while you're watching what's happening in the book. So here we go, 2-2 today. I'm going to start on page 92 to go through a couple examples here of what's happening. Pause as you need again to be able to do well on this. Example 1 talks about a biker and he's wanting to go. His target speed is 25 miles an hour, 25 miles per hour. So they've already given you the unit rate. The question is, did he achieve his target speed for those first 7 miles? On the picture, it shows that he did 7 miles in 15 minutes. And so the question is, did that work out? And you might already see how you can attach this to the hours. You can see, I can just times that by 4 and get an equivalent fraction. I'm going to make it a little more messy just for the purpose of the example. That's 1/4 of an hour. So it's 7 miles in 1/4 of an hour. And then to get this number, remember, whatever was on the bottom, we just divided by it. So I just divide by 1/4, divide by 1/4. And this new fraction that we end up having is, let's see, 1/4 divided by 1/4. So I'm just at 1 hour right there. Now I'm able to compare it. And then 7 miles divided by 1/4. Well, let's see, 7 divided by the fraction 1/4. 28. So he did 28 miles an hour. Yes, he reached his target speed. So you can see that in creating this unit rate, we have to divide by a fraction. Don't be afraid of it. You've already divided by fractions. You've got the calculator here that's going to do most of the work. But that's one example of dividing by the fraction. If you look at example number 2 on page 93, you can see that this person can do 12,000 square feet. There's that feet with a squared on it is how it's written. And then they can do that in 2/3 of an hour. It's a pretty good amount of work. Well done. Then, you can just divide both sides by 2/3. Now you can see what they did in the book. Why didn't they divide by 2/3? Why instead did they times by 3/2 on both sides? Well, you can multiply by either one. They just keep, switch, flipped, like we learned how to do in dividing fractions. So whether you write it this way or this way, it's all right. It's the exact same thing. I'll cover that up so you can see that I'm just going to go ahead and divide. 2/3 divided by 2/3 is 1, so there's 1 hour. Question is, what's 12,000 divided by 2/3? 12,000 divided by the fraction 2/3. There's a lot of ways you can write divide by on this calculator. If you wrote it that way, it was 18,000 square feet can be done in 1 hour. Now, had you times it by 3/2, multiplied this number by 3/2, you would have gotten the exact same number. They're just showing you can divide by the number or just keep and switch and flip it if you don't have a calculator to work with. Same thing on example 3. Omar knows that Chris lives 3/5 of a mile away. And as you look at that on the map, that's 3/4 of an inch. So if 3/5 of a mile is 3/4 of an inch, then what's 1 inch? What would 1 inch be? We're getting to this unit rate so that we can then use it. So divide by 3/4 on both sides, and you're going to find how many miles are in 1 inch on this. The fraction 3/5 divided by the fraction 3/4. And if you wrote it as a fraction over fraction, that's the exact same thing. So 4/5 of a mile is the same as 1 inch. And then the question is, how far away is the school? Well, you can now work with that. Now that you have the unit rate, you can work with that. The school is 2 inches on the map. So you just times by 2. So multiply that by 2. So I'm just going to multiply by 2. And it's 8/5. 8/5 of a mile away. And of course, they wrote it as a mixed number. You can click the Math 1 enter like we've learned to change it to a mixed number, 1 3/5. So when all of these are going to give us a complicated rate, try to turn it into a unit rate. And the reason to turn it into a unit rate is then to use it for the information we want to find. It's kind of a complicated number of steps, but it's just doing what we've already done, turning it into a unit rate to then use that later. So those are some examples on how we're doing it. If you were to look at number 7 on page 95, and you can see that 3/4 cups of sugar is the same amount that you need when you need 1/8 cup of butter, and you want to find the unit rate for butter. This is sugar. If you want for 1 cup of butter, how do you get from 1/8 to 1? Well, just like we've already done, just divide by 1/8. And yes, the book is showing you can keep, switch, flip. You could times by 8 if you want. Divide by 1/8. So 3/4 divided by 1/8. I have no idea what that is. So 3/4. I'm doing a fraction of a fraction on this one just to show you. You can do it in multiple ways. Divided by the fraction 1/8. You get 6. So 6 cups of sugar is what you use with 1 cup of butter. That sounds pretty yummy, doesn't it? 6 to 1. So that's number 7. You can work through these, each one of these on the pages 95, 96. And again, it's simply writing the fraction, whatever the rate is, the number per the number, and then you're turning it into a unit rate. So out of 1, and then use that if they say, well, what is 3 of them, or what is 4 of them, or what is 8 of them? You find the unit rate to begin with, and then you can find out how many. I said 3, but like I said, it could be any number that they want you to have. If you remember yesterday, unit rate, that's the first step in these. Get it out of 1 and then solve it. Thanks for listening. Try those problems on numbers or on pages 95, 96. If you have questions, you can go back and look at the examples and see if those help figuring those out. Contact me if it's completely confusing. Thanks for watching.